Greetings, I'm Stan Hustad, and welcome once again to a program as a part of the series, The Marketing Life Coach. And today's presentation is simply called this: Be One of the Three. The way to true success. Now, I collect threes. In fact, if you would be invited into my office, and I'd love to have you join me sometime, you'll see that I collect threes. I find them in lots of places. I buy them when I can, never take one or steal one, of course, but people are always selling threes. And it's become kind of a trademark for those of us who are thinking about success, because if you want to be successful, you are thinking the number three. And that's going to be the story and the situation and perhaps a little guidance, inspiration for this program on how you can be successful. Now, you have to know a little bit about my story because that's vital too. You see, being one of the three is something that I discovered very late in life. And I sometimes wonder, why didn't someone teach this to me when I was much younger? I was in my 40s before I discovered this incredible truth about being one of the three. Now, let me tell you how that happened. You see, when I was in my 40s, I'd had what I thought had been a successful career. I had been a world-class teacher. I had become a broadcaster, indeed an international broadcaster working with organizations around the world. But in my 40s, my career crashed. And I'd like to believe that it was no fault of my own in terms of messing up or doing those things that are wrong to do. But it had happened. Something had gone badly wrong. And there I was. So in my 40s, as my wife turned to me one day and said, "Well, this is exactly what I was hoping for when I married you 20 years ago. I was hoping that we would have no house, no car, no job, no money, broke, and a kid in college." Those were very difficult times, my friend. I still remember them. And even as I tell you that story, I can do so with a sense of joy and success now. But when I went through it with my dear wife, those were extremely tough times. We had worked so hard, yet there we were. No house, no car, no job, no money, broke, and a kid in college. That's not what my wife was hoping for when she had married me. That caused me to go through one of those great life introspections, inspections, reflections. What did I do wrong? What did I miss? And when I had discovered that even though I was supposedly well educated, I'd been trained by the BBC in international broadcasting, I'd been a college graduate, done some graduate work, was on my way to a graduate degree, certainly gone through high school and college, had a good deal of experience in things, that even though I knew a lot about a lot of things, no one had really helped me figure out what it would take to be successful. And that's what being one of the three is all about. You see, all of us have a variety of jobs that we have to do. First of all, it's the job you have to do. You may be a financial advisor. You may be a truck salesman. You may be a banker. You may be a broker. You may be involved in real estate. Increasingly, many of you are operating your own small businesses, or you're self-employed, or you're part of that growing group of people who we call contract workers, who are literally 1099 folks. You don't have jobs. You simply go out there and try and get a gig, and you get it from time to time, and that group of people is growing. So we're not only having to be good at our job and the career calling that we have, we're going to have to figure out how to be successful. Every last one of us is also in the success business, not just in doing the work we do and in achieving the goals that we have. We are in the success business, and we have to figure out what it takes to be successful. One of the gentlemen who helped me was a guy named Earl Nightingale, and I simply show this to you because it really frames the conversation and the coaching for today. As you see this little cassettes, that's where I got them, still try and listen to them, was called The Essence of Success, and it was put together by a man named Earl Nightingale. And he has a very interesting story, somewhat similar to my story, but all stories are different, just as your story is different. Earl Nightingale tells the story that as a young man, literally he was a Marine Corps young person, just starting out in life, and he happened to be on the USS Arizona in Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941, when the attack took place. And he was fortunate enough to survive that attack. He wasn't one of the many casualties. He points out that from that time on, he lived with a deep sense of grace in his life. Now, that's important to know. He could be dead. He probably should have been dead, but he had been fortunate enough to survive. He said, but I always lived with that deep realization that, you know what, let's go for it. Let's do all we can. I could be dead, but I'm not. Why should I be afraid? Why should I be afraid to risk things? Because I'm just lucky to be alive. And being lucky to be alive and thankful to be alive is very, very important. I'm discovering that that's one of the essences of success. To be grateful, to be thankful, to be alive. Now, the rest of his life was literally spent. And he did a variety of radio programs throughout his life. He created these audio and video programs. He started a company that was literally geared to bringing audio and video programs to the marketplace. You've probably heard of the Nightingale Conant Corporation, which is one of the premier people, premier founding folks when it comes to putting together success and motivational and personal development material. You see, we all have to figure out, as Earl Nightingale was trying to figure out, what is the essence of success? What does it take to be successful? And many of you are now saying to me, Stan, okay, that's good, but what does that have to do with marketing? Well, please keep in mind, it is your life and how you live it and how you perform it and how you treat others which will be the root of your success. It's not how well you handle the media and whether you get a fancy brochure or whether you get a good message out there. All of those are part of marketing. But the essence of marketing is you. It's how people relate to you, connect with you, hear from you, are treated by you, feel when they are with you. Marketing is how you live your life and how you treat others. And one of the best ways to market you is to be successful at being you, to be successful in your life and business. You see, people want to do business with people who are successful, people who know what it takes to be successful. That's who they want to work with. That's who they want to be with. That's who they want to look up to. So right now, I'm challenging you to be a student of success. Read about it. Think about it. Ask successful people how they became successful. Make success studies a part of your daily, weekly living discipline. Now, as I said, I had to learn that lesson the hard way. It took me a long time to realize that, and I didn't realize it until I was profoundly unsuccessful. No house, no car, no job, no money, broke, and a kid in college. And so, being right there, at the bottom, on the floor, I had to look up and say, what did I miss? What's missing? What is it going to take to be successful? And so along with learning how to be a marketer, continuing to be a broadcaster, to be a teacher, to be an entrepreneur, I became a student of success. And it's a lifelong journey. And part of what I'm seeking to do today with you is to help you not only market your business, but to be able to market your life performance and truly be happy, to be successful in life. Because that's what it's all about. True success. Not just money, not just being on the top, not just being successful in your career, but true success, a life well lived. And then, of course, to figure out what success is all about. Now, thank you for giving me 10 minutes to set the stage. You're very patient. But now you're simply saying to me, okay, Stan, let's get back to that 3-bit. What's the 3 all about? Well, here's what I discovered. And I thank a variety of other coaches and mentors for helping me do this. One of the things that made the rounds, literally, I heard it here, and then I heard it there, and then I heard it from some other place. But people like Earl Nightingale, Brian Tracy, Paul Meyer, some of my success coaches, Jim Rohn. Some of those are names that you've heard about before, and perhaps only it's like me. You say, yeah, that's right. They're helping me. They're helping me get there. If only I could be somewhat like them or put into practice what they know. Those are the people I studied and I learned from. And I kept hearing the number 3. And it's based on something that we have discovered. And I just simply want to share it with you today. So if you have a piece of paper or you're by a chalkboard, if you happen to have one of those things available, or a whiteboard or whatever else you have, just a piece of paper, I want you to write down 4 numbers. And of course, the first one is number 3. Then I want you to write down just below that the number 10. Got that? Simple enough. Then the number 60. And then the number 27. 3, 10, 60, 27. And what people were telling me was this. Only 3% of the population. And this is anecdotal. This is oftentimes statistical. It certainly matches with personal experience. Only 3% of the population know who they are, what they want, and they have a plan to achieve the goals that they set and get what they want. Only 3%. 3. And that number struck me. Boy, I would like to be one of the 3. And in high school and college and in broadcasting school, no one had ever told me that, talked to me about that. 3% set the goals, work the plan, and then achieve true success. Then the number 10% came up. And what this was all about was that about 10% of the population are somewhat oriented toward a set of goals. Now the 3%, they're really focused. They oftentimes have actually written those goals down. They have them in a notebook. They have them on a piece of paper. They carry them with them, and it's very specific. They are working a plan on how they're going to achieve these various goals. They're thinking about where they want to be in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Like Stephen Covey, another one of my mentors said, they really have the end in mind. They begin with the end in mind. Peter Drucker stepped into my life in reading and hearing from him, not personally, but in his works and writings. And he said simply this, successful people know how they want to be remembered. They know that they're not going to be here forever. Someday, someone's going to bury them and put them away, and they're going to be gone. And successful people are writing that tombstone every day. They're writing that epitaph every day. They know how they want to be remembered. And they even take that down to understanding how they want to be remembered in their position, in their job. And then, as a young woman said to me when this truth became obvious to her, she said, I want to understand and think about how I want to be remembered in every encounter I have in life. Whether it's a sales call, a presentation, a friendship, or a relationship, how do I want people to remember me? 3% of those people running around today, and sometimes you even sense it, they're a little bit different. As one of my other coach clients said, you know, people like that are not different by degree. They're almost different in kind. They're almost a different kind of people. That was the 3%. Now the 10% have a lot of the same similarities. Where the 3% are really directed toward their goals and their ambitions and their achievements, the 10% think about them. And there's a good chance that maybe you're in that 10%. You take time to think about what you want to do this week, perhaps what you want to achieve this year. You're thinking about where you want your career to go. You are doing more than just dealing with the day and, okay, it's Friday. What did I do? What do I achieve? What am I going to do this weekend? Well, I don't know. What's next week going to be? Well, I guess it's whatever is on the schedule. But 10% think about their goals. They think about the things they want to achieve. And they're really oriented toward them. Many of these people are very, very successful in life. They're doing well. 60%, well, obviously the vast majority of people. These people do deal with the day. Now, they have a lot of hopes, wants, and wishes. They'd like to go back to school someday. They'd like to lose weight. They want to, hope to. 60% of the population lives with these great hopes. Yeah, it would be nice. Maybe. I wonder if I'll win the lottery. It would be great if I could get off welfare. It would be good to get a promotion. Someday I'd love to start my own business. That vacation would be really good. I wonder if I'll ever be able to take a cruise. I wonder, I hope, I think, I wish, I want. Well, that's where most people are at. The vast majority, 60%. Hopes, wants, and wishes. That's good stuff, but it's not nearly good enough. Well, 3, 10, 60, we've got 27% left. And unfortunately, these are people who really don't have a clue. They truly are just dealing with the day. They take it day by day. Now, there's nothing wrong with taking life day by day. In fact, you need to learn to live and be fully present in the moment. And you certainly don't want to just be moaning and groaning about the past. And you know that you can't control a great deal of what's going to happen to you in the future. But you can plan for it and you can think about it. But these people just kind of live for the moment. Sometimes they survive for the moment. They just deal with the mess they're in. Now, unfortunately, these people tend to lose hope. They don't have a lot of dreams and goals and ambitions. They just hopefully hope to make it. Now, please keep in mind, I don't want this to be judgmental to you. When I look at my own life, and sometimes I fall back there in the bottom, I say, oh my goodness, I'm just dealing with the day, and I get fearful, and sometimes I feel that things are not going my way. We all deal with those moments, and I don't mean to dismiss that lightly. But people who are continually stuck in that bottom 27%, and in some cases, that's growing. More and more people just thinking about their present situation, either positively, but most likely negatively, because they don't really have any written goals. They don't really have any great ambitions. They don't have any hopes and dreams and aspirations. They're just doing it day by day and not very happy And obviously, many of them are depressed. Many of them are just wondering what life is all about. So that's why, to me, this became a very significant number. 3, 10, 60, 27. Now, right now, as you look at that piece of paper, and perhaps as you think back during this last 20 minutes of discussion, where do you think you are? Are you one of those 3%? You know, I can almost see the smile in your face as you look down at your notebook or think about your life. Yeah, Stan, you know, I think I might be one of those 3%. Well, no, maybe I'm one of those 10%. Yeah, I think about my goals, my ambitions, and my achievements, and I truly am really working toward them. 60%. Well, obviously that's where the majority of us are. And when I give this presentation, most people come forward and say, Stan, I have to confess that I might be in the top of the 60%, but that's where I'm at. I'm just kind of doing my stuff day by day, and I don't give it a whole lot of future intention and thoughtfulness, but, you know, I'm pressing on it. I'm doing the best I can. And some of you may just right now be saying, you know, perhaps could it be that I truly am living the majority of my life in that 27%? Now again, one of the things that I like to do as a coach is simply repeat this. Don't judge, just notice. Don't beat up on yourself. And I'm certainly not doing that. As I pointed out, the great revelation that came to me was that even though I thought that I knew how to be successful, that for the most part, even though I had had some aspirations, and in fact the time when I was most successful when I had actually taken a time or had a project where I had lived like one of the 3. But for the most part, I was living in that 60 percentile range. I was there with maybe some hopes, wants, and wishes. And I determined that I was going to be one of those 3% goal setters. I was going to figure out, how did I want to be remembered? I was going to try and decide what kind of legacy, what kind of life did I want to live, and what kind of legacy did I want to leave. I was going to be almost fanatical about writing out my goals and trying to set down plans and reflecting on them and figuring out where I had gone wrong and what had not worked out. I didn't say failed, because I realize now that that's a part of how I readjust and reconnoiter and redo and reset, reload, start again, fall down, get up. I knew what direction I wanted to go and where I wanted to be. And it took me a long time to figure out that that was the part of life that had been missing. Now that does not mean that I wouldn't have gone through that difficult ordeal. And it doesn't mean that as I speak to you today that I don't necessarily always have my 3% act together, because sometimes I don't. But I'm continually looking at the situation I'm in, trying to understand the times, know what's going on, and figuring out what to do, reset my goals, reset my plans, and press forward, press onward toward the goals I seek. 3% living. That's what I wanted to be. Now, here's the thing that's before us right now. Where do you think you are? Where would you want to be? Now, let me ask you a question in terms of your own business and life. What kind of people do you think you'd like to work with? I oftentimes say, would you like to work with people who are goal-directed, know who they are, know what they want? They can make tough decisions. They're decisive. They're energized. They're ready to go. They're ready to take risks. They're open to wise counsel. They're open to reflection. They are people seeking success. Now, in your business, Would you like to work with those people? Would you like to have those people as clients and customers? Or would you prefer to have people who are in the 27 percentile? Where do you want to go for your business? Where do you want to go for clients and customers? Well, I think you can obviously see that the greatest happiness and the greatest chance of success is that in whatever business I am in, financial planning, selling trucks, carpet cleaning, whatever, it doesn't matter. The people who care about life and achieving goals and achieving good things and getting what they want, those are the people who will make the best clients and customers. And if I want to work with those people, if I want to sell to those people, if I want to market to those people, it would be very, very helpful if they viewed me as one of them. The 3% sell and market and deal with the 3%. And the 10% and the 60% may look at you being a 3%er and say, I'd like to be like that. I'd like to be like that person. Oftentimes, one of the best ways to market whatever you're trying to sell is for people to really believe that they could become somewhat like you by buying some product and service from you. And I say that again. You want people to think, believe, and perhaps know that by buying a product and service from you, that they might become more like you. They might be able to live more like you. They might be able to have the life that you have, the life that you live. Now is it beginning to make sense? Marketing life coach. I'm trying to be that kind of person. I'm trying to help you be that kind of person. Hopefully we're going to find and see clients and customers who are in that 3%. And in fact, can you imagine how much better the world would be if everybody who was stuck in life, stuck in a situation, stuck in unhappiness, stuck on welfare, stuck in a job they didn't like, stuck in so many ways, could begin to break free. From 27%, they become 60%. From 60, they become a 10%er. And eventually they become one of the three. Be one of the three. Now, in the time that's left to us, I would just like to help you get started. And I can only help you get started if right now there's something that is gnawing at your head, heart, and maybe even on your gut, which says, I would like that. That would be nice. I've never heard this before. That's exactly the response I had when it first came to me. And I thank, as I said, Paul Meyer and his Success Motivation Institute for helping me to see in one of the first programs I did entitled The Power of Personal Goal Setting. Be one of those three. Earl Nightingale, who said, lead the field. Be one of the three. All of the mentors and masters of success that I was beginning to strike at in hearing them speak, listening to their audio programs, reading their books, they were helping me to have this great and deep desire to be one of those 3% and to share that life and truth with others. Hopefully that's happening to you right now. And you can see not only the advantages to your life, but the advantages to your business and how you could expand your territory and sphere of influence around the world. Being one of the three is a good thing. Now, how do we start? Well, as I just said, you start by wanting. And remember, that's what I said. The 3% know what they want out of life. I'm going to ask you to do this. Take a piece of paper, just a simple piece of paper. And you don't need any fancy booklet or form. If you'd like me to provide one, perhaps you could say, Stan, do you have something that might be helpful? Well, we might be able to help you out if you want to contact me at Marketing Life Coach, and perhaps we could help you out with that. But right now, I'm simply going to ask you to do this. Start writing out these things. In fact, title it this: everything I would like to have, to do, to become, and to help. Now, have you got that down? And by the way, I could show you a PowerPoint slide and write it down for you, but I want you to do it. I want you to write it down because that's important. You know, with your own pen or pencil on your own piece of paper, not just watch me put it on a slide, but everything I want to have, everything I'd love to do, want, love to become, and then most importantly, who do I want to serve? What do I want to care about? What am I concerned for? Now, let it flow. Have fun with this. Now, let me tell you what's going to happen. Because right now we have kind of a little ratty lizard part of our brain which is simply talking to us, and it's saying this: oh, you can't do that. You're a failure. We're not those kind of people. You couldn't achieve that. You know, and I still remember to this day when I started this exercise. Well, who do you think you are? Now, this goes back to my upbringing. This goes back to a very humble family which wasn't terribly motivated by lots of goals because they weren't from a family that had lots of goals and ambitions. And there was that, who do you think you are? Who do you think you really are? Do you really think you could be that way, that you could achieve that, you could have that? Right away, you're going to have a cassette player in your brain, a bad CD in your head, something that reminds you that you shouldn't think that way. Let it go, let it flow. Blue skies, green lights, go for it. Everything. What do you want to have? Stuff. Now, stuff is not the most important. But when that happened to me, I was driving a rusty, ratty old car that somebody had given me. And I didn't want to have a rusty, ratty old car that somebody had given me. I wanted to have a nice car. And so I wrote down very specifically the kind of car I'd like to own someday. I started to put down the haves, the stuff that I would like to have. Now, I'm aware of the fact that it's just stuff, and it'll wear out, and it won't lead to lasting happiness, but having good things is nice. What would you like to have? Now, most importantly, from having is to take another step up to not just having, but doing. What would you like to do? Would you like to take that cruise? Would you like to go back to school? Would you like to start your own business? What would you like to do? Let it flow. Let it go. What would you want to do? Remember, we're trying to discover what it is we truly want. That's the secret. Now, take it up, kick it up another step, even higher. What do you want to become? Would you like to become a world-class expert in your field? Would you like to become a student? Would you like to become a writer, a musician, a performer? What kind of doing would you like to do that actually takes a part of your life and you become one of those things? You become a good person, a kind person, a compassionate person, an expert in your field. Have you ever thought about this? It is possible for you to do the work to become world-class, an expert, a world-class expert in what you do and who you are. And then the fourth level is very, very vital. I discovered that many of these people in the successful 3% had finally discovered the truth is that we are here for others. Albert Einstein, it's reported, toward the end of his life, gave real attention to what would be the purpose of life. He had certainly done a lot of work in mathematics and physics to discover such things as the theory of relativity and the work that went into the great Einsteinian physics revolution. Toward the end of his life, he came to this conclusion. And with a smile, we say it wasn't relative. We are here for others. Let me tell you, we are meant to serve others. We are meant to help others. Now, if you want to be successful, how do you want to serve others? What kind of concerns do you have? I find it interesting that now a man like Bill Gates, who wanted to be a geek, became a geek, started a major business, even a man like him now is discovering that with this multi-billions of dollars that he has, that he and his wife should be serving and giving money away to others. What are the concerns you have in health and education and in how you can help other people? How can you serve your clients? So I'm asking that question. The 3%, figure out what it is you want to have. And have fun with that. Let that list flow and go. And what you'll discover is just the fact that you have it on the list, some of those things will begin to happen. You'll also discover that eventually you'll start crossing those things off your list because you achieve them. Or you decide that as you become more focused in life, it's not that important after all. And now you know not only what you want, you know what you really don't need or want anymore. One of the three. You're figuring out what you really want to do, those things that will give you energy and personality and help you become fully alive and feel good about yourself and have that happiness and laughter and joy that you want. And you'll more and more discover some of the things that you really want to characterize the life you live, what you want to become. And then you'll take that step to ask, how can I truly serve and be for others? Be one of the three. Now that's my challenge to you. There's a lot more to this. But that's the first one. Do you really want to be? Secondly, are you ready to take the time to figure out, what those things might be in your life? Now, that's not going to make you a 3%er yet, but at least you've done the work of looking at your life and looking at your life experiences and looking at the future they're trying to create and saying, this is where I want to be. This is what I want to have. This is what I want to become. This is what I want. And life becomes very, very different. Now, once you've done that, you take at least step number 3. You find a way, you find a system that will work for you to help you day by day, week by week, year by year, to refine, renew, recharge, reload, and do that 3% goal-directed, career-directed, life-directed living. Now that's where a coach is very helpful, because there are oftentimes, as I discovered, people who came in and they said, this is how I became a 3%er, follow my ways. And somebody else came in and said, this is how I became a 3%er, do this. Now let me tell you something. The third part is hard because you can't take somebody else's sales system, goal-setting system, even the one that I might give you. You have to do the work yourself. Sometimes you explore, you try this, you fail at this, this works. Remember, a system that does not work for you does not work. Don't blame yourself. Figure out, oftentimes it's a combination of the things you hear, the things you see, and the things you learn from others, and eventually you will create the system that works for you. Now, then don't do what everybody else does, is then start giving a seminar in which you teach your system to somebody else and say, this is the way it'll have to work for you. Because it doesn't work that way. 3% people are creative. They're creating their own systems, their own ways, their own organizations, their own businesses. They are not following the crowd. They are learning from successful others. They're learning from other 3%ers. They're studying success in every way they can. And they are figuring out what they want to have, to do, become, and how they want to help and serve. But then they're doing the work of finding, through coaching, through connecting, through learning from others, how to create their own 3% living system. I hope this has been helpful. There's a lot more that we can talk about, and we certainly will be talking about as you go through a number of other Marketing Life Coach video presentations. But it begins right here, being one of the 3. I'd appreciate hearing from you. How might I help you? Why don't you let me know? I would be grateful. And then I would love if you'd start to share some of your stories, some of your secrets, and some of your ways that you are discovering what life is like when you seek to be one of the 3, and how you can share that 3% success with others. That's it, my friends. Thank you for your time. Thank you for giving me your attention. Thanking you for giving me a certain amount of energy. It's been helpful. And I hope that I will see you at the top as all of us seek to be one of the 3.